Hey, ladies, welcome to the Calm Edge podcast. I'm your host, Brooke. Does it feel like your brain is stuck in overdrive, spiraling, scanning, second guessing, and keeping you up at night? The Calm Edge is what happens when you stop letting that voice run the show and start leading your life from grounded power. I'm a hypnotherapist, and I help women just like you rewire the subconscious patterns behind overthinking and self-doubt so you can feel calm, confident, and actually enjoy your life again. Let's dive in. Today's guest built an extraordinary career in the fast-paced world of New York City advertising, rising to executive leadership at some of the most innovative agencies in the world, creating campaigns for iconic Fortune 500 brands. But along the way, she realized that traditional success wasn't enough. Alignment mattered just as much. That insight led her to reimagine what was possible, partnering with world-class creatives, building brands and experiences across art, wellness, and storytelling, and ultimately designing a career rooted in freedom, joy, and purpose. Her journey is a powerful reminder that when we listen to what truly lights us up and have the courage to follow it, success can feel expansive, intentional, and deeply fulfilling. Please welcome one of my very good friends, Vanessa Zippo.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you, my
Well,
girl.
I mean, we've been talking about this forever, and now here we are.
Yeah.
We have these conversations on my couch,
All the time.
which is why, for everybody who's listening, we are actually sitting outside on my patio right now in person. You might get a little bit of, I mean, the postman just walked up and dropped off some mail. I don't know if you guys heard that.
Bird song.
Okay, so you had what so many women would call the dream career. VP by 30, iconic agencies, Fortune 500 brands. What did that version of success feel like from the inside?
Oh, I think even just you asking me the question and requiring me to put myself back into that world that I've now been out of for 10 years, I can feel the stress like bubbling up in my body. And I think it's because on the outside, it did look extremely glamorous. It was like the dream. I had majored in advertising in college, and then from the time I had like a junior year internship till basically a month after I graduated, I had just rocket shipped into that world. And so for my, you know, 20s and the early part of my 30s, it's all I knew. But on the inside, it was soul crushing. I remember standing at my desk in my office in 2006, because back then we did not have open floor plans. You just like everybody had an office. I remember being inside my windowless office at one of the best ad agencies in the world in New York in this huge skyscraper. And I remember standing there, and it was my first day. I had already just gotten like kind of screamed at because a conference room wasn't booked correctly. And I remember standing there and just thinking, this does not feel right.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. This is not who I am. But I think because I was so young, I was 21 and I did not have a view of what was possible from a career standpoint. I didn't see other options necessarily. I more just felt like, I've just got to hit the ground running and do this. Like, this is what it is to have a career. And so I kind of just shut my eyes and I gripped my hands and I just did that for 11 years,
Wow.
basically. And don't get me wrong, there were amazing things about it. And I don't mean to sound ungrateful, because I was able to work on ad campaigns that you would recognize, for Target design partnerships and work alongside Carrie Underwood when she was the spokesperson for Olay and, campaigns for Marriott and Volvo. I worked at MTV in Times Square. It was really, really, really cool. Like you'd be on the escalator and Bruno Mars would be behind you. Um, and it gave me all of the sort of training and quote unquote dues that I felt actually did end up being the spring from which the rest of my career sort of bounced off of. But it was hard earned.
Yeah. Wow. So this is interesting. So you were there for 11 years.
Mhm.
When you just described when you first started to feel the whisper that something wasn't fully aligned. So when did you feel that?
That was day one.
Wow.
That was July 10th, 2006.
So your intuition was talking to you, but at 21, I mean, I know at 21 I wasn't listening to my own intuition
Yeah,
either.
no, not at all. You're just like, please be quiet, leave me alone. I'm supposed to be like grateful and like excited.
11 years later, was there a moment when you realized this is it? I have to leave.
Yeah, there were a couple of things that happened. I think one, and this was sort of happening throughout the 11 years, is that my body was really rejecting this.
Mm.
I was really, really, really thin, and my hair was falling out. I didn't see exactly how bad it was until kind of recently when my aunt was here and she saw me come out of the car and she was like, "This is the healthiest I've ever seen you." She was like, "When you used to work in New York, sometimes at night I used to be like afraid that you would die." Um, but you can't see it in the moment. And there's a lot of people that are around you that are doing it. And you're sort of like, why? Why, is this not like clicking for me? And also, you're like, but I'm also really successful at it. I'm withering away. And it was happening because when I'm stressed, I'm not hungry. And since I was stressed all the time, I just didn't really eat and I didn't think much about it. And you just think it's going to get better and it
Yeah.
becomes your norm. And then I would say the big turning point though, what had happened in the beginning of 2017 was this is very like on brand for me now, but it was not super on brand for me back then. I went to get my tarot cards read.
Yeah.
So this amazing lady, she like does the whole spread, your current state, immediate, like future, and then distant future. And she was basically looks at this card. The first card representing my present is a skeleton crawling on the ground. I was like, "Oh
Shit,
my God,
Vanessa.
what is it?" Oh, I'm like, "Can I just
This is
leave?"
why people don't get their tarot
Yeah,
cards.
yeah. But yeah, yeah, for sure. You're just like, I feel like, should I like wrap myself in bubble wrap and like be prepared for doom? But she was like, what this signifies, and based on like what I'm seeing for your future, is if you don't change your life
Mm,
and you don't give your body some relief, something is gonna happen that makes you do it.
yeah.
And I was like,
Which I do feel like is true for everybody.
yeah, it's so true because your body is constantly dialoguing with you and
Mhm.
signaling you. And we are taught a lot of the time to mask that,
Yeah.
Advil,
Hmm.
muster through it, white knuckle through it.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, when we're doing that, we are just delaying the inevitable and we're harming ourselves even more.
Mm.
And I went on later in my career to actually work with somebody who focuses on teaching people body intelligence, which is
Mm.
really kind of ironic given what had happened to me, in my 20s.
Was that low?
Warren, yeah,
Yeah.
Low Roxborough, who was like dubbed by Goop as the body whisperer
Yeah.
because she helps people hear the whispers of what their
Mm.
body's trying to communicate with them.
It's actually really interesting you mentioned this because there's a term for it, the interoceptive awareness.
Yeah,
And when I think back on my journey, like when I had high blood pressure at 31 at my events position, and I
yeah,
was in physical shape, but my blood pressure was like my
through
doctor
the
couldn't
roof.
believe it was weird. It just like didn't fit and I slipped through the cracks for so many years because every time my blood pressure reading came back high at a doctor's appointment, they'd be like, "Oh, you probably just rushed here. Like, you're young, you're in great shape,
Yeah.
you're skinny, you're not
No,
like,"
totally.
right? But it's interesting because I think about now, what was it about meditation
Mm,
and yoga and hypnotherapy that shifted everything for me? And that subtle awareness of like, I need, like
Mm,
my body needs rest or my
yeah.
body needs movement, or I actually have a pain in my chest that I hadn't
Mm,
noticed before,
mm,
right? Like it's like you completely disconnect and numb out.
yeah.
And I think as women, like you said, a lot of us are just taught to knuckle through it. And we're so physically and mentally strong. I mean,
To our detriment.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really interesting. So you're at this tarot card reading.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, so she's basically like, let's go. You got to do something else. I'm like, okay. Bizarrely, like a week later, I'm walking around in New York. I'm by myself, nobody really like talks to you on the streets in New York. Everybody
Mhm.
has on like headphones or whatever. And somebody just kind of like really, not in a threatening way, kind of like grabs, touches my shoulder and she's like, I'm an intuitive and I just have to tell you, I just got a really strong ping that you need to move to California. And I'm like, okay, like, thanks. Like, all right, I'll put this in the back of my mind. I'm like, like, keep walking. I walk 2 more blocks. I kid you not. I'm walking by people that are sitting outside, and a different person, I kid you not, this happened. I swear, a different person does. I'm so sorry to bother you. I have to tell you something. Like, I just got the most insane download. You need to move to California. I
No,
kid you not.
no,
This
Vanessa.
happened.
How have
My
we never
hands
talked
get
about this
sweaty
before?
just
Like,
talking about it. Like, it was almost like I just needed some arrow to point me
yeah.
in a in the right direction. And so that happened.
Did you have any type of spiritual practice at that point?
Oh, girl, no.
Okay.
I mean, literally,
So,
did you know what I did?
so I love how the
Literally.
universe, like, we got to send some people to spell it out for
Yeah.
her.
Oh, because you were talking about how much your spiritual practices allowed you to like receive your body's signals. But I
Mm,
think what they really do, if you look at it from more of a scientific perspective than from what people, I don't like when people do this, but when people label that stuff as woo-woo,
yeah.
when you get into these mindfulness practices like yoga or meditation, the number one benefit of it is that it quiets the chatter in your mind. As women, just like you said, we are so intellectual. We are so rational. We are running a million scenarios in our head at a time. But what happens is that we're so in our head that it sucks all of our focus away from our body. So when you can finally quiet this never-ending chatter in your mind, the signals from your body are actually very clear and you don't have to do this like crazy deciphering.
Mm.
But at the time, I did not have that. Literally, the only thing I would do that was even remotely like physical is that after work, I would go to this gym that offered Kangoo.
Don't even know what that
It's
is.
trampoline shoes.
Oh,
So
trampoline
literally,
shoes.
I would like just have to like get my energy out, but it was still really like it was awesome and fun, but it was like high paced. I did
Yeah.
nothing to calm my nervous system down
Yes. I feel that so
ever.
much. Like the exercises had to be really intense
A,
in order for me to go
a
there.
thousand
Yeah.
percent. I'm like, if I
Too
am
boring
not
if it got slow because
so
so uncomfortable to slow down
yeah,
to
and
be with
time
yourself.
is money. Like if I'm
Yeah.
not here and I'm not looking toned,
Yeah.
I'm not here for it. Like
Yeah.
I don't need to quiet anything down. I
Yeah.
need to be efficient with my time. So I was gravitating toward practices like that more
Yeah.
than the stuff that can
Yeah.
calm you.
Okay, so this second person stops you on the street. At
You're
this point, you hadn't been considering California at all. Like it wasn't even on your radar.
I mean, not really. I had come out here and I have a friend, well, this will come into play, but I have one of my best friends had moved to Hermosa Beach. She was in the process of moving to Hermosa Beach at the time with her husband, who's another one of my really good friends from college. I had come out and visited them a couple of times and kind of said to myself while I was standing out on the Hermosa Beach Pier, like, one day I'll live here.
Mm.
But it was a, you know,
It's like a little flicker of desire,
yeah, it's like a
little
little thing on
rocket
your
that,
vision
yeah,
board that's like tiny.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was it.
So funny.
Yeah. So then,
I love those thinking about those looking back though, the little signs in your past life that you were always coming here.
Yes.
Like I have, she was kind of like a grandmother to me, but she was an aunt because my grandmother, my mom's side, passed away when I was only 2. And she used to live in California. She was an aunt by adoption.
Mm.
So she wasn't related
Wow.
to me by blood, but she was a singer and used to live in Venice.
Oh
And
my
she used to do
God.
backup for like Bette Midler, Barbara Streisand.
What?
Yeah, she would do demos for them. And she would talk to me about, she'd be like, California, like the weather. And
Oh.
she'd talk about Malibu and like, and it's funny because I was only 13 and I would
Mhm.
just absorb that. And then once I actually moved here, I thought about how that must have impacted me
For
and how
sure.
that like planted a seed.
Yeah.
She also gave me the Beaches CD, which now which is a pivotal moment of my life. And I know every
Smiling.
single word of every single song
I,
on that soundtrack.
oh, I think the people want an episode where you just sing.
Yeah, you know
We're gonna have to
what?
make that happen, Brooke.
I don't know why I haven't done that yet,
We
actually.
need it. We need an intro song.
Uh-huh. Okay, so you started getting these signs.
Yeah. And then what happened was I basically decided, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do, but like I gotta wrap this up, man.
Yeah.
Like I can't, I need to give myself enough mental space to be able to re-architect my whole life. So the game plan was I'm gonna start saving money and I'm gonna plan to quit my job, which I was the vice president account director on Marriott hotels at that time. I'm gonna quit that job in May. And then I'm going to take the summer and I'm just going to give myself the space to figure it out, right? So that's going to happen the first week of May. Beginning of May happens. I quit. That weekend, I get a call. It's my friends that live in Hermosa, and they're like, this is really random. The side note, they're calling me on FaceTime and they are by the pier in Hermosa and the sun is just like
Mm.
drenching them. Like
Mhm.
the
Halo,
dappled sun
like
is like
haloed
coming
behind
through
them.
and you're
Yeah.
just like, it's really still cold here, even though it's like May 5th. Like summer is like a flash. Anyway, they just look sun-kissed and they're like, this is really random, but we have become good friends with this like incredible photographer and director whose name is Bo Bridges, and he is looking for somebody, his first full-time employee, to come on board and run his business. He wants to travel and shoot. He specializes in big wave surf and action sports, and he was shooting the movie posters for the Mission Impossible franchise and constantly was featured in ESPN. And they were like, he really wants to hire somebody so that he has the peace of mind to travel and shoot and know that like everything that's going on business wise is going to be dialed in. And we thought of you.
Wow. Okay, really quickly.
Yeah,
So you dropped a faith bomb on your life
for sure.
and it created all this space, and immediately the universe just poured into that with this incredible opportunity.
Yeah.
And this is like, it's a tough one to tell when people are in it, right?
Yeah.
It's like hard to say when you're in it, when there's a lot of fear around, there's, it's very real, our safety being tied financially, right?
Yes.
Our safety being tied to a green piece of paper. So something like I talk a lot
Totally.
about. It's like it's an inanimate object, the green piece of paper, but our safety is so tied into it
Yeah.
and it feels very real. And while it is real, also at the same time, when you look at your life and you think about like you've always been taken care of all along the way.
Mm.
And when you drop that faith bomb and you created space in the void, it's pure potential.
Yeah. The thing about this, though, and like you alluded to this, but even recently, I've been in a window of uncertainty about what my next step was going to look like. There's just no way around the fact that part of this is terrifying.
Yeah.
There just isn't.
Mm.
Um, Especially because I'm not married. I'm not in a partnership. So I don't have, you know, that cushion of somebody that's like financially just like, I got you.
Yeah.
You know, granted, if I needed it, my parents would definitely step
Yeah.
in and
You wouldn't end up on the street.
yeah,
It's
but
like
you know,
you
the
always have
thing
somewhere to
is,
go.
I would never. And I'm so grateful to be able to say that. And also, I have to like just shout out my parents and my family because I have been on this like really atypical ride since the day I quit my job in 2017 and like decided ultimately to pursue the bow thing.
Yeah.
Um, and my parents and my sisters lifted me up in every single one of those decisions and cheered me on.
Mm.
And I would not be where I am doing what I'm doing, filled with so much joy and light, fulfillment, happiness, if it wasn't for the way that I was raised and the family I was surrounded with to just put these values in
Mm.
place. I think we throw around a lot these ideas of like morals, values, and it sounds really like, I don't know, there's something about it that sounds really like formal and kind of traps people. But really, I think about it and I'm like, the number one value in my family, the filter through which we were taught to put our decisions was joy.
Mm.
What a beautiful permission, and now having, worked with Bo, another filter that he taught me, fun.
Yeah.
I started my career. It did not pass the joy filter. It sure as hell didn't pass the fun filter. But I was just too young to even put it in place.
Yeah.
Um,
And I love that you're describing these as filters.
yeah,
So, from like the subconscious hypno perspective, it's
yeah,
like these belief systems, because those values become belief systems and they become filters by which you see the world.
yeah.
And I think the take home message here is you did have these values and that was instilled in you.
Mm,
But if someone doesn't have those values, choosing to change the dialogue with yourself and adopt that value, even if you don't have maybe mom or dad or sister telling you, follow your joy, follow your joy. My family's incredible. I love my mom and dad. They were very practical. I graduated from college and they were kind of like,
yeah,
okay, now get a job with health insurance.
yeah, totally.
Doesn't matter if you like it.
That's right. But you'll
Like,
be insured
yeah.
and you
Yeah.
can have a low copay.
Yeah.
What a thrill. I look forward to that. Thanks.
Right.
We talk about
And so
insurance all the
we do talk about health
Yeah, we
insurance a
talk about
lot.
health insurance.
Um, and they were doing amazing. I have amazing parents, right? Shout out to Pokey and Sherry, Pokey and
Bless.
Bubbles.
Amen.
Bless them. Love them. But at some point, I found that value within me. At
Yeah,
some point, I learned that joy is your inner compass. If you follow joy, you're following your inner compass for your purpose, your soul's purpose.
yeah, yeah.
Because that's when you're able to tap into that flow and the universe gets behind you and sends you to California. Like,
Totally.
I think I've shared this with you before. When I was working in Baltimore and
Yeah.
I got the inkling to go to California, it was actually someone I was dating at the time, lived in California.
You're there
And
for a reason, a season, or
right,
forever.
right. And I was a prevention coordinator at Baltimore Child Abuse Center. And there was a social media campaign. I know, right?
Stuff.
Intense stuff. And there's a social media campaign. And I had been heading this up on Twitter. And I didn't even know what
Yeah.
I was doing. I didn't even have my own Twitter account
God
at the
bless.
time.
Yeah.
And I was just being really noisy about it and annoying and making sure every person I knew was like retweeting.
Me again.
Well, it turns out that the result of this social media campaign was they were picking 5 nonprofits nationwide that entered, and they were flying 2 representatives to LA to compete.
You're
I
like, can
didn't
I
know
win?
this when I entered.
Can I enter myself?
And I just had this feeling because I was like, I just decided I'd never been to LA before and I wanted to go. And then
Yeah.
this happened. And I'll never forget walking in to talk to my boss, Adam, who was hands down to this day, one of the best bosses, the best boss I think I ever had. Like he was so uplifting.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I put this on my vision board
Mm,
and I just have a feeling we're going to win. And I'll never
that's
forget
crazy.
when he walked into my office and he goes, I got a phone call so it was Chase Bank was putting this on. I got a phone call from Chase Bank today. And I just want to know what else is on that vision board of yours
No
because
way.
we just got chosen.
Oh,
And that within a week, we were on flights to LA.
oh my God.
And that to me was the sign.
Yeah.
And my first thought wasn't, let's save up some money and make that. My first thought was like, I'm just going to go and figure it out.
Yeah. You're gonna wing
Like
it.
it was And I was 26 at the
There you
time.
go.
Like, right?
Yeah. You
But
get the nudges. Here's the other thing though. You have to say yes
yeah.
because I have realized too, these kinds of opportunities aren't just limited to the people that are like, let me take a huge risk and let me just quit my job and like see what happens. We are given these blessings and these bright spots quite often. You
Mm-hmm.
have to choose to say yes to them, even when it's scary, because there are a lot of things that I have done since that moment, since I got this call to come out to California that were insane. The things that I decided to say yes to were absolutely bananas. People were like, I can't believe you're going to drop everything and do this. This is totally nuts. You know what? So many people think that if you jump off of a cliff, you're going to be free falling all the way down. Most of the time, that jump is as fast as jumping off a curb.
Oh, I love that visual.
Yeah,
That landed for me.
right?
And I'm sure every single person who's listening to this right now is like, oh,
Yeah, you just do it.
it's like jumping off a curb.
Yeah, you're just like, boop.
It's
Like, I don't know, I just said yes. What if I don't torture myself and hem
yeah.
and haw and like make a pros and cons list? What if I'm just like, yeah, yep, yep, all right, sure, yep. I'm gonna figure it out. It's gonna be crazy. I'm gonna have to like, I don't know, be on a ton of like red-eye flights, or I'm gonna have to, I don't know. I've done some crazy stuff, and you're just like, what if I just do it?
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to touch on though is, we talked about our supportive families, siblings, all this stuff. And like you have to make a decision yourself to, choose to pursue joy. The other thing that I think is so important is who you choose to surround yourself by and what you choose to ingest. Because our subconscious is constantly vacuuming up everything that's around us, and that becomes our reality. So it's
Mhm.
like being really, really thoughtful about who are the friends and people coming into my life, and are they lighting me up? What
Mhm.
is the dialogue that we're having? What is the content? What are the podcasts that I listen to? What are the TV shows that I watch?
Mhm.
What do I do with my free time when it exists? And it's like, I think I'm so lucky that I have my family, and I'm so lucky that I have that kind of value system. But you are the one that gets to program your life, especially as you get older. You have to parent yourself.
Mhm.
So, a simple shift could
Yeah.
be, I used to listen to a lot of true crime podcasts, and programming is like really, it
Yeah.
puts your mind down the murder path. You know what I'm saying? Like you're laying in bed at night and you're like, is he the Golden State Killer? Like, I'm not really sure. And
I
like,
actually just did this recently with Scandal, and I was like, I can't, this isn't good for my brain.
yeah, you gotta
Yes.
turn it off. It's like
Yeah.
now you know what I listen to,
You're
and I
feeding your
love
brain.
it. Like plug for Amy Poehler's podcast, like Good Hang.
Yeah.
Or Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop, because it's like entrepreneurial women,
Yeah.
you know.
Or Brooke Ansley Wellness.
Yes, Brooke Ansley
The Calm Edge
Wellness
podcast.
podcast is on 24/7 in the background. Like I choose music that's joyful.
Yeah.
I watch home decor shows and I love them. I want my brain to be seeped in the tea of joy. And thus, what happens is
Love that.
you just fake it till you make it. And when
Hmm.
you stop plugging in all the negative stuff and all you're eating is the positive, next thing you look up and you're glowing and you haven't thought about murders in a really long time. You're just up in there being like SNL, really funny, like all these people just joking around. Like, program your mind. It's you just make that be your joy.
I'm sorry, I can barely come over here. Yes, yes. Preach. Okay. So this is so interesting because I think about when I was in my position at Tower Cancer Research Foundation and I was starting to get that itch to do my own thing and I
Yep.
didn't know how to make that leap. What I started doing in my drive on the way to work, I would put in Abraham Hicks.
Mm.
And I would just listen all the way to work. And by the time I got to work, I was so amped up, feeling so good
Yes.
that my energy, even at work, was through that filter.
Yeah.
It's actually funny because I think right before I left that last year, everything at work got really good because that was part of mastering that level.
Yeah.
Changing my circumstance isn't going to change this. I have to change the program and the filter by which I experience the world. And the way I
Absolutely.
do that is I feed my brain with good feeling thoughts. And you're exactly right. I mean, 2 years ago when I launched this podcast, I did an episode about Taylor Swift songs and how music is hypnotizing. When I was a kid, I used to listen to country music and it's all like, he did me wrong. And
Mhm. Yeah.
I sometimes blame country music for
A
all
little
those
bit.
problems I
It
had in my
happens.
dating
Look
life.
at him with the Louisville Slugger
Yeah.
to both lights.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was insane. No. But because that was what I was feeding my brain, and
Yeah.
it becomes storyline. It becomes the filter by which you see the world.
Yeah.
So,
So true.
yeah. And it's really interesting because I think a lot of people don't love to hear that when they're like, no, but I love to fall asleep listening to a true crime podcast or
Mm.
whatever is on TV. But especially at night, you're putting that into the subconscious when your brain is already in a receptive mode because you're moving in alpha theta and then
Yeah. Well, the other thing is the brain just wants more of what it's used to having.
yeah.
The brain is not always going to point you toward the thing that is the best for you.
Yeah.
It's just it loves routine. So if
Homeostasis.
your routine is true crime before bed, it's
Yeah.
giving death, your brain is going to be like, I want more of that. I want more of that. Don't let that fool you.
Yeah.
Be the one that is like, in control of your life. Make the shift.
Yeah.
And after
And
you
that's a
do it a
choice.
couple times, it will shift.
Yeah.
Like, I have always had a really hard time going to bed at a good time. My
Mm.
brain hates it when I'm like, we're going to bed at 10 tonight. But after a while, give me 3 days. And next thing you know, 10 rolls around. We're in bed and we're thriving. Like,
Yeah.
you kind of have to like
Yeah. Just do it. It's
just do
like
it.
it's reps. You're just doing your bicep curls. And it's like when you haven't been to the gym in a while and that first time you go, you're just like, this isn't fucking doing anything. Like, God
Yeah.
damn it. Like, I don't see the definition. I'm not rewarded. Like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But you just show up and do it. And by 7 days in, you can feel the change and it's like you're digging that groove in your brain, a
Yeah.
new neural pathway for a new way of being.
For sure.
I love that you touched on that. That's awesome. Okay. I have a lot of questions left for you. So you've bet on yourself multiple times throughout your life. 11 years in New York. Then you
Yeah.
decided to move to LA. You took that role with Bo, the photographer.
Yeah, the betting on myself in that moment, like I guess the question is sort of like, okay, then what happened? I get this opportunity,
Mhm.
right? I flew out here to meet with him and he walked in the gallery in soaking wet board shorts. He rolled up in a golf cart and he had his dog in the back of it and a foamy surfboard and he's soaking wet and I'm in the gallery already. Somebody must have let me in. And he just opens the door and he's like, "What up?" He's like, "Welcome to California." I'm like, "What the hell is this?" Because, the last time I interviewed for something, it was in a huge skyscraper. And
You were in like a black
I'm in a
suit.
black suit and I'm like, have my resume in a resume holder. I'm about to get like asked a lot of scary questions. And he's just like, let's go get burritos. I'm like, I don't know what this job is going to entail, but the answer is yes. 1,000% yes. So yeah, this was like what I decided to do was the biggest bet I had ever made on myself in my whole entire life. He offered me a job, studio and gallery director in 2017. He's like, could you start in like 3 weeks? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, so it gives you a little break,
So,
which is great. 'Cause you got
except for not really, because here's the thing. I was in a relationship, so I had to break up with my boyfriend. So a sweet guy. I had a lease in Brooklyn. I had to break that. I had a life of furniture and stuff I had to sell. I had no car because you don't have one in New York. And I had to say goodbye to like everybody in my whole entire life. And I had to get the remaining stuff that I wanted to bring out here somehow.
yeah.
So I basically had 2 weeks to just like wrap all that shit up in my life. And then I drove out here for a week with my dad and my sister. We drove cross country. And it was amazing because it was a pilgrimage. It was feeling the tangible distance that I was going here. It's
Yeah.
like the equivalent of like you're walking on the path, like you're feeling I'm going really
It's
far
like a
away. I mean,
ritual for that transition, which is so interesting.
yeah, yeah, for sure. It's like I needed this was so massive for me.
Process, yeah.
I grew up in New Jersey. I went to Penn State. I moved to New York. Yeah, it was three
You're
states. So
very
like
close to your
everybody, am I
family.
very close to my family? I have the most insane, incredible group of friends from college that are still some of my best friends to this day. We all went from Penn State to New York. Like the circumference of my world was very defined. It was on the East Coast. I had made decisions and transition points in my life that were just natural next steps. This was like I'm bursting out of the bubble and I'm doing something really crazy. And, I got here and luckily that couple who had made the connection and introduced me to Bo, they were living here and I could stay with them for 2 weeks. But I got here and I did not have a place to live. I had a Nissan Rogue filled with my belongings that were in black garbage bags. I pretty much just brought my clothes and my shoes and my makeup, and I was like,
The
let's
essentials.
go. The essentials, they had nothing. And we couldn't even fill the Rogue, I should say, because my we need to have me and my sister and my dad in it. So it's like I have a trunk worth of items to be set. Like I'm 33, that's all I have is like 5 garbage bags and some shoes. And I'm like, let's go. I don't know what's happening, right? Um, no place to live. I'm like living in their guest room for 2 weeks. And
And it all worked
I
out.
have to tell you, this is the part of it, like I put myself in that place
Yeah.
and my body feels so different, versus how I felt when I think about my era in New York and in the ad agency world. That tarot card reader had said, if you start to make changes in your life, you will eventually see the light.
Mm.
I think about this all the time. When I got here, it was like I just got bathed in light. It was so profound. You're just like, especially because, I was changing my career too, and like working for him, there's that filter of fun. We're in this gorgeous gallery that's like in downtown Manhattan Beach. And I know you know it well, but if you are not familiar with it, it's like the most gorgeous town. We're a block and a half from the beach. He has great vibes. I'm surrounded by like images of waves and nature and
Mm.
sun, and everybody's like happy. I felt like I had been holding my breath for a really long time, and like finally I just exhaled and I was just like drenched in light.
Mm.
And the thing that's really hard about this though is you and I talk sometimes about having a known for something,
Yeah.
like meaning that you experience something and then you use that as a marker for something that you come back to. Like, oh, I know this feeling. Yeah, that felt really good. I did not have a known for what joy, deep joy
Mm.
to this level felt like. I didn't know. So when I was in New York and I wasn't feeling this way, it's not like I could have realized
Yeah.
where I was. I couldn't. It's like I came here and I suddenly this experience of being myself. And the other thing that happened, which was crazy, is I used to have two different personas, who I had to be at work and who I really was.
Ah,
Getting to work for Bo, it was one.
wow.
So I credit so much of this to him, because again, you're working side by side with somebody whose filter is fun in a place that is joyful and beautiful. And also, he's a photographer. His job is to look for beauty.
Mm.
So, what we would get to do, I'm just following this guy around trying to sell his photographs of beauty. So, we're just looking around for beauty every day. Like, I'd be standing in some random place with him, being like, yeah, it's just a normal morning. He'd go and take a photo. the photo's like stunning and we're selling it,
Yeah.
for thousands of dollars. I'm like, holy cow, beauty is all around us.
Mm.
So the reason why I bring this whole like known thing up and you were talking about betting on yourself, it's because sometimes you just have to do something really effing crazy just to see what happens so that you can get the known. Like I had no idea what this was going to be like. He could have been a huge a-hole.
Yeah.
I could have hated it here. I could have made no friends. Side note, I
Yeah.
had two friends, right? I have
Yeah.
two friends and some extended family that I barely knew. It could have been a disaster. I had just sold all of my belongings. I got a pair of flip-flops and shorts, and I'm 33 and I just threw away this like massive career. But you know what? I'm like, you know what my dad said? You can always come home. If it
Mm.
doesn't work out, you can always come home.
Yeah. Well, and to your point about sometimes you have to make these choices, it's like you have to break the pattern to get the new
Yes,
known.
a thousand
So it's like
percent.
you have to disrupt the pattern you're in.
Yeah.
It's not always about like moving across the country or changing your geography.
Mm-mm.
For me and you, it was. That's how you disrupted the pattern. That's how you put yourself in a totally different world that had a different way of thinking. And
Yeah.
and that helped with the programming. And isn't it kind of interesting? The level of consciousness that you were at in New York, never could have imagined,
Mm-mm.
but something in you, there was a whisper, that's your
Yeah.
intuition. And probably at the time you didn't even realize like what you were doing, but something was telling you to go. Something was telling you to grow, grow. It's like,
Yeah.
what is that quote? Every blade of grass has like an angel standing over it, whispering, grow, grow.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? It's like, as humans, I believe that we're here to grow and
Yes.
expand and keep learning.
Yeah.
And just being open to that and willing to follow the signs, the
Yeah.
doors that open for you, which for you were very clear. People stopping you on the street saying, go in this direction.
Yeah. But I like the point that you were making about how when these um transition moments happen, they don't have to be the massive ones that you and I had. I should also say that like yes, that was a big one. That was a big boy.
Hmm.
But I also started to make every micro choice that happens in my life every day through the joy filter, through the happiness filter. Like tiny decisions, how I start my day, what I eat for breakfast, how I prepare my coffee,
No.
what I think about when I open the door to my car. Like it is a life that is joy filled is not one that necessarily falls in your lap or one that happens as a result of one big change. It is a choice you make and turn into a routine every day
Mm.
because I could have been given this exact same opportunity
Yeah.
and it could have fallen completely flat.
Yeah.
Like I had to choose joy when it was, I gotta make all new friends.
Yeah.
Am I going to take a leap of faith and be invited to this barbecue by my neighbor who I've only met once to stand around with a bunch of people that I don't know
Yeah.
on Labor Day weekend? Yeah, I'm going to just shower today and I'm going to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? At that barbecue, I met like 7 friends that are now some of my
Mm-hmm.
best friends out here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to that yoga class in the morning at a brewery in Manhattan Beach that I don't know anybody. And I'm just going to see that's how you and I became friends.
Yeah.
It's all these decisions,
Micro
micro
choices.
choices.
Yeah. It's actually interesting in the book, The Slight Edge, the author whose name I can't remember off the top of my head because mom brain, but he talks about how those little choices, they're so easy to make that they're so easy to not
Not
make
make.
them. And
Oh,
but that's how you change your life.
yeah.
That little 1 degree,
Yeah.
making the choice to do the thing. I mean, you have to drop the all or nothing thinking
You do.
because,
It's so limiting. It's too
yeah,
scary.
yeah, yeah,
Too much. But like,
yeah.
here's a tiny example. I figured out that it really stresses me out if I wake up in the morning and my coffee maker isn't clean and then I have to like the first thing I do is wash it.
Hmm.
now I just wash it before I go to bed. And when I wake up in the morning and I look in that sink and inside are the components to my clean coffee maker, I'm like, yeah, Vanessa from yesterday, let's go. Fill that sucker up and let's drink a nice coffee. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yes.
like that is small,
Yes.
but it's like these glimmers of joy. I listen to jazz music when I wake up. I
I
love
listen to
it.
jazz
Do
music at
you really?
night. I put it on every night while I'm cooking and when we have dinner.
Setting the tone.
Ah, and I put my supplements out the night before, or else I'll
Oh,
forget
yeah.
to take my supplements. Especially now that I have a small human to
Happens. But
think
it's
about
like,
like
how are you
scheduling all that.
caring for yourself?
Yes.
How are you betting on yourself in a million different ways?
Mhm.
My supplements, they go in a really pretty little ceramic dish.
Yeah.
I get to pick from one of four. Each one serves a different memory for me from travels that I've gone on.
Joy.
I love to take
Joy.
my Nutrafol now. I'm like, is it going to be in the ceramic dish my mom made me or like this nice one from the Philippines? It's just like, yeah, your life is
Beauty,
made
finding
finding
beauty in every
beauty.
little decision.
Yeah, it's like bet on yourself in the smallest ways.
It's so interesting too when you talk about like the filter of joy and beauty because I mean it really ties into gratitude and a practice that saved my life
Mm,
actually because I think back to a time when I was really struggling. I was going through another breakup. I was living in Hollywood. I felt very alone. What's wrong with me 10 years ago? And I just remember I learned about doing a gratitude journal and
mm.
I clung to it. At the time, it just felt like I have to do something to change my life. I've
Yeah.
just gone through this toxic pattern again. I
Yes.
have to change my life.
Yeah.
And so I put my journal next to my bed and I woke up. And before I would even get out of bed to pee in the morning, I would write down those 5 things. The
Yeah.
sun came up. I live in sunny California. The sun came up for another fucking day in a row.
Yeah.
Like, how awesome is that?
Yes.
I have this amazing bed that's so soft and warm and this roof over my head. Like,
Mm,
how amazing is that?
yeah.
And I just started to turn towards gratitude.
Mm,
And it literally, within a week, I started feeling better. Within 2 weeks, I started feeling amazing.
yeah.
And then what happened was, because when you're going through something like you're grieving or going through a breakup or a
Mm,
loss, you
yeah.
wake up and it hits you
Of
again.
course.
It's
Huge
like,
wave.
wave. And then it's like, oh, I have to go through this whole day.
Yeah.
And I remember what that trained my brain to do. One morning after doing this every day, I woke up and my brain went to gratitude without
Mm,
even opening my journal yet.
yeah.
And these thoughts create images in our brain, which tell our body to release certain hormones,
Yes.
oxytocin,
Yep.
feel good hormone, right? And I was feeling good. And that was the shift. And then things started to peel away. I guess I was around 30, 31, and I was waking up. It's like I was waking up for the first
Mm-hmm.
time. And I I learned that I have this pharmacy in my brain. At the time, I was also taking medication.
Yeah.
The medication helped, but looking back, it was really when I started to change my thought processes and get a handle on what I was saying to myself every day
Mm-hmm.
and choosing gratitude,
Yeah.
choosing joy, choosing beauty, and really like looking for the beauty everywhere in my life in those small moments. You go to the coffee shop and you have a beautiful exchange with the barista,
Yeah.
the way it smells when you walk in
Mm-hmm.
the coffee shop, getting yourself the really awesome latte,
Yeah.
um, just savoring them.
Yeah.
And I started to feel better. And then my life started to change.
Yes.
And it's a choice.
It is for sure. I mean, also just scientifically, what happens in those first few minutes that you wake up sets the tone for your whole day. That's
Mhm.
if you can make one change to your life, if you find change really difficult, focus that change on what you do as soon as you open your eyes, and it
Yeah.
will change the way you
Yeah.
experience your life. Because the thing is, it's like that latte was always just as delicious. That barista
Mhm.
was always standing there ready to give you a smile. Your day actually unfolded exactly the same as it
Mhm.
had every day before that.
Mhm.
You had just programmed your brain to experience it differently. So I feel like those waking moments, I
Mhm.
mean, now I do Vedic meditation,
Mhm.
right when I wake up.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the
Mm.
building block of your life and the lens through which you view it.
Okay, so you've started now kind of like your own freelance thing. You're working with all kinds of different
Yeah.
brands.
Yeah.
So, in this next chapter of your life, if it were a creative campaign,
Yeah.
what would the tagline be?
Oh God, man. Brooke Brooke doesn't tell you what the questions are going to be ahead of time, so I'm just absorbing this for the first time. I'm kind of like I need to hem and haw on things, so let me give you off the
If
top.
anybody can do this, I know it's you.
I know, God. I know I said this already, but it would just be the light. I just follow the light. I
Mm.
just do. That's all I do. I follow the light. I listen to what lights me up, and that's what I pursue. And when it feels like it's starting to dim, it's a signal to me it's time to make a change.
Mm.
Um, and the other thing I'll say is since coming out here working for Bo for those 5 years, then in 2022, I decided to make another series of big changes. Sometimes also these big changes don't always work, and I've experienced that as well.
Mm.
Um, I thought maybe at the end of those 5 years, I should probably just see if I wanted to move back and be closer to my family on the East Coast. My nieces were being born, my sister and my best friend were getting married, and I thought, there's a lot of life happening on the East Coast that I feel like I'm kind of missing, and should I just go back? And you know what? It didn't work. And it was really sloppy and it was messy. And I moved from here to the East Coast and back in the course of 18 months.
Mm.
That is messy. It is
Yeah.
hard. It is exhausting. It is soul sucking. I mean, sold my stuff and furnished apartments twice. I left a job that was the joy that I had known for 5 years. I got all the way back to the East Coast and was surrounded by my family and broke my own heart when I realized that this was still my place. And, you know, you also have to be prepared for the fact that, like, when you live this life, or I have chosen to live this life that where I take big risks. I just do it. Like, I leap off that curb now. I'm like, woo, I don't think about it, off the curb. It doesn't always work. This is not also like, oh, I got out of this scot-free. She moved to California and like the joy happened.
Yeah.
Like
What
you,
do you do in those moments to stay grounded and steady when it feels really uncertain? Because I think that it it's
yeah,
an important piece to all of this. It doesn't always work, but it doesn't mean it's over, right? It's like it's being able to stay steady and then make the next best choice.
yeah,
And sometimes those choices bring you somewhere you never thought you had to go home and try that.
yeah.
I think you looking back are
Oh,
still
so
glad you
thank
did
God I
it.
did.
Yeah.
Um, there is this therapist called Stutz.
Hmm.
He's they did a documentary about him on Netflix.
Yes, he's
Like Seth
yes, Seth
Rogen.
Rogen's therapist.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Loved that.
So there's this little
Okay.
graphic that he uses, and it's a pyramid. When you feel like you're really in your head about something, or you are like drowning and you're underwater and you just can't figure out the solution,
Yeah.
focus on the things in this pyramid. One of them is moving your body. One of them is journaling and getting the thoughts out of your head and like closing the loop on circuitous thinking. One is being with other people.
Mm.
And there's like a hierarchy of it, some things more important than the other. When I am stuck or when things are really hard, I go to that pyramid. I gotta move. I gotta do yoga. I have to be in nature. I have to walk. I have to put my feet in the sand, touch the
Mhm.
ocean,
Sing karaoke.
sing karaoke, which we're really good at. The Gemstones coming
Yes.
soon to the Brooke Ansley
We have a
podcast.
band
We
called
do.
the Gemstones,
We do.
but
We
we
have a
only
third
do
member.
karaoke.
Yeah, that's true. I journal it out. I write it out. I talk to people about it and I seek the advice of people that can look at things through a different lens than I do. I have done a lot of self-work. I have worked with a dating coach for 2 years. I worked with a self-love coach and somatic therapist for years. I learned Vedic meditation. I center my life around communities that are focused on yoga and movement and being outdoors. I go to those people. I seek their guidance. I seek their counsel. I seek their compassion. I seek the things that they understand that I don't quite yet.
Yeah.
And again, that's really important for me being, I live alone. A lot of the time I work remotely and I'm a lot of times solo. I enjoy being in my head, but sometimes I think that it can be a detriment when all we're doing is like flipping around the exact same thoughts and trying to look at them from a different perspective.
Yeah.
You talked about the power of growth and growth being like the center, what life is all about. We can only grow so much in the confines of our own head. We've got to seek the expertise of others. And it's going to those experts that I have found the most significant upward trajectories in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I'm hearing embrace the messiness. Messy is okay. Messy is good.
Yeah.
Messy is part of living a fulfilled life.
Yeah, it is. I mean, here's the thing. I'm also pretty type A. I like, you know, I like things to be really orderly. I like for them to fall into like nice, pretty, well organized, gorgeous categories. When I start to feel like things are really like, just what the hell am I going to do right now? This is really wonky. It's a signal to me that I've got to look into that and figure out this is a flag for me that there's something in this mix that just is not working. I can either choose to ignore this and I can like shove it over there, or I can actually get really brave about what it is that isn't working and I need to change it.
Yeah.
I could have probably stayed on the East Coast longer, shoving down the fact that it wasn't feeling right for me for a long time. I could have probably gotten married and been living there in the suburbs somewhere. And you have to just, the name of my freelancing company is Bravely She Goes. You have to just be brave about looking at the reality of what is happening in your life and changing it. If you want a life that is as big as you imagine, if you want the life that's on your vision board, you just have to be brave. Like you have to just be honest with yourself. People feel like they can't understand what they should do next. And I think the truth is we all know. It just takes a really specific level of bravery in order to action on it.
Yes, girl. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, to the last hour of my life and everybody who's listening, who just received a lifetime's worth of guidance in this one podcast episode.
Oh, you're
Thank
sweet.
you.
Oh my God, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. Love you.
Learn how to calm an overactive mind and lead your life from grounded power. My one-on-one personalized hypno coaching experience is designed to help you rewire subconscious patterns so calm becomes your superpower. Click the link below to schedule a complimentary 30-minute consultation call and let's chat.